All right, we're live. And all of a sudden, my office got really, really hot. So my cheeks are flushed. I promise I haven't been drinking today. But yeah, my cheeks are flushed. My office is uncomfortably warm, but I turned the air conditioner on, which is so weird because most people are turning their furnaces on this time of year, but that's just how things go when you live in northern Michigan. So anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to Bjorn. Hello. And Mason. Hello. And Shaney B80. Hello. And Lewis. Hello. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Oh, Chuck. Hey, Chuck, I missed you because I was saying I was really thirsty. I was going to get water. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Hope, I think most, in fact, okay, let me back up. Most people in general live in the Northern Hemisphere. That doesn't mean that the people in the Northern Hemisphere are more important or anything. However, just the majority of people do. So it's like fall time of year for most of us. I know that the closer you are to the equator, the less significant that is as far as like seasons go. But I'm right, like really, really close to the 45th parallel, which is like, halfway between the equator and the North Pole. And we definitely get all of the seasons, but they don't always come as scheduled. So it'll be like super warm and then super cold, and yeah, it can be a mess. Anyway, wherever you are, I hope that the weather is lovely. It's very sunny out today, but also very cold. And yet here in my office, now I have been working on my desk. It will be finished, my workbench, whatever I want to call it, that I've talked about for weeks, and it's not even like a big thing. It's just literally a couple of boards I'm screwing to the wall to make a workbench, but that's going to be done today. I have my chop saw here. I actually recorded a little bit of video of myself taking boards out to the farm and ripping the edges square. I'll post somewhere something about the workbench. Anyway, glad everybody is here. Oh, Mason. Oh yeah, put a log on the fire. So we don't have a fireplace here in our townhouse where my wife and I live, but my farm has a little farmhouse on it where my middle daughter lives, and it has a fireplace, and it is so cozy, and it's cool. Like it's an older house. It has a fireplace, and then the like bricks around the fireplace, there's like some kind of embedded fan, and there's like a couple slots in the bricks, and so there's a switch you can turn on, and the fan, I have to admit, sounds pretty tired. But you turn the fan on, and not only do you get like the radiant heat from the crackling fire, it also like circulates a little bit of air on the firebox, and so like you get this filtered warmth slowly pouring out. It's a really nice way to spend a winter evening. Anyway, oh, Chuck, outside of Charleston, South Carolina, yeah, hopefully everything goes well there. I mean, my goodness, is Ian a storm and a half and 3/4, and whew, it was supposed to die down before it hit land, and it did not. My future son-in-law is from Naples, Florida, and that's right near Fort Myers, and that's like where it ended up getting just the worst of the hurricane. Just struck them as a Category 4. They're okay. His family's okay. I mean, Florida's just torn up, though. My goodness, is it a mess? But that was the big stress for us. I'm texting my future son-in-law, and he's like calling and texting his folks who still live down in Naples, and I didn't want to annoy them, or I didn't want to annoy him, but also, concerned. And anyway, but everybody's fine. All the people are fine. I think that's the important thing. I know that's not true everywhere, but the people that he knows and loves in Florida are okay. Not that anybody asked, but we're talking about the hurricane. So yeah, things are happening now. I don't know how many of you are in the Discord. But like there's a Jerk Brains and Productivity channel in the Discord where, I've been talking about stuff and I blog about stuff. It's weird. I mean, I have mental health issues. I mean, I have green hair. No, that's not why I have green hair. And one of the things is I am a terrible perfectionist, which you wouldn't guess by seeing my videos because my videos are far from perfect. But it's something I really struggle with. I get crippling anxiety, not anxiety. I also get anxiety, but not about videos. It's I never get started because I'm afraid I'm not going to do the perfect job on each individual video. And so it ends up just stifling all productivity. So anyway, the announcement today has to do with that. It's kind of the opposite of when people say, you know, give yourself a break, you know, you just do what you can. Nope, it's the exact opposite of that. And I'm totally stealing from Techno Tim if you know his YouTube channel or follow him on Twitter or anything. But nonetheless, I thought we should probably start with the weekend assignment. And this weekend assignment, first of all, if anybody could let me know, I used, it's a new document sharing thing. I was going to try something somebody recommended, but then I didn't. I ended up going with Trillium. Has anybody installed Trillium before? It's actually really stinking nice. It's just I run it in a Docker container, and it just, you know, I map a volume to my local Linux file system on my Docker server. And I just really love Trillium. It is so nice, and it's more scriptable than I could imagine. So eventually I'll be able to make templates. Like there will probably be a weekend assignment template where I just like fire it up and fill in the blanks and boom, it's ready. But anyway, hopefully the format was good. The layout was much better. Good. So sorry, I was asking questions, and the layout was much better, and it was a lot easier for me too. And the sharing links are easier and less complicated. So cool. I'm going to stick with it. I really like it. I'm actually going to copy the first two over just so that they're all in one place. The nice thing is when I share the link, I use my URL shortener and I can change what that points to. So they will point to the right thing once they're moved over. Damien, yeah, the status of the Linux Plus. I'll tell you what, that's what a lot of the big announcement, I'm not trying to tease it. I just don't want to forget to do the weekend assignment, but yeah, it's about productivity. So it will be a huge boon, I think, for everybody, myself included. I mean, this isn't like I'm being self-sacrificial. No, I think it'll be good for me as well. Jason, let's see, the worst data center horror story. I was asked this question once when I worked at CBT Nuggets when we were doing like data center horror stories, and it's been even more years since it happened. But I remember when our main file server, when I worked for a school district, our main file server died. And I don't remember all the details now. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'm healing. But basically, I remember, the thing I do remember is, I don't remember if it was like everybody's files were, it was probably everybody's files were missing. I mean, I almost certainly had backups. But I mean, that doesn't always make you feel good in the moment. But the horrible thing was I had to go to all of the offices in the school district and put a note on like the secretary's computers and like principal's computers and say, today will be a day with no files. We will not have access to any of our documents because the millions and millions of files that I'm restoring will not be restored before the end of the school day, much less before the beginning of it. And so all day I just had to like restore millions of files onto a fail, because I stored them on RAID, and something catastrophic happened with our RAID controller and it wasn't recoverable, so I had to restore from backup. But boy, when you have all that many files, it's not something you can do quickly. So anyway, yeah, that was probably one of my biggest concerns, because it was not clear if everybody would have files afterwards. I mean, it's hard to test a backup when it takes days to restore, and I don't remember all the details, but yeah, that's my scary story. So anyway, I don't know what the best way to do this. You know what? Since I have a computer down here, I'm gonna try to switch. Welcome tablet. Fire starts here. Okay, cool. So just start up Firefox, but let's actually go to the thing. Hopefully internet works on this computer. I think it does. HTTPS narco WA3. Look at that. Look how fast it loads. Way to go, new app. Can I squish it down and have it resized too? This is just looking better and better and better. Well, except my face is in the way. It's all right. Scooch this over. I'll fix all this in post edit. Oh, wait, it's live. All right. So, okay, yeah, the assignment. So if we look down here, basically, I wanted to. The assignment was pretty open ended in that I wanted you to write a script that would count to 5 in 5 different ways. Okay. And I purposefully left it very wide open for how you could do that. So you could have taken the very easy route and literally just written an echo command for each of the 5 times and like, the same thing 5 times, and you could have done it. Or you could use loops. I try to do a combination of things. So I'm going to go over my solutions and, it looks like, okay, so I'm going to pop this up if I can get over there. So, Mason, here's the truth. I didn't use sed on any of my 5 solutions. So I'm super glad that was something that you did. That's stinking awesome. But I did try to cover a bunch of different ways. I tried not to take the easy way out, but I probably did take the easy way out a little bit on a couple of them. But I didn't actually start working on my assignment until 2 p.m. my time, which is, an hour before we started. So I really did write them quickly. So I made sure that they worked. See if we run the script, it should do. And this wasn't required, but I made it print out exactly like the output. Like I just, all this stuff I just like made up on the fly, like, make it count to 5 any way you want, either like line by line, comma, no comma, words, Roman numerals. So I wanted to make it look exactly like the assignment. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me mute my computer because that was annoying. Okay. So yeah, I made the output look exactly like that, but let's go through the 5 ways that I did it. And then if anybody has weird questions or whatever, or questions about what I did or better solutions or why I took the easy way out. I'm using VI again, just because that's what I'm used to, and it does syntax highlighting. But so the first way that I did it, I decided to do a while loop, and I've done this. I think I did this in one of the last assignments too, just a while true loop. And basically if it's while true, it runs forever and ever until it's quit. I'm going to move my chat window over. Hold on a second. I'm going to move it at least closer to where I am so I can see if somebody says something. All right, cool. There. So while true, it's going to run forever between the do and the done. And then it starts out. So before the while loop starts, I assign X the value of 0. And then before we do anything else, the first thing the loop does is it increments by 1. And this is one of several ways that you can increment a variable. In Bash, there are a bunch. I think I use 2 different ways as we go through all of this. But X equals X plus 1, basically. And it has to be inside the arithmetic double parenthesis $ thing, because otherwise, if you just do X equals X plus 1, it will assign the string X plus symbol number 1 as a string to the variable X. So this is to basically make Bash do it with numbers and not as a string. So that's why it looks a little funky there. And then echo, so -n, this is something that I didn't talk about in any of the videos that we went over, but this is something you can, look in the help command or whatever. And this basically just echoes without a new line command. Now that also happens to be how printf does things by default. Printf will print it to the screen, and it doesn't automatically put a new line character there. But nonetheless, echo -n will do that. And so then it prints 1, because of course 0 plus 1 is 1. So it does 1. And then here's why I got tricky, because if you look at what the output is, there were commas between all of them, but there's not a comma after 5. And after I typed all that out and I was like starting to write the scripts, I'm like, well, dang it, Sean, you kind of made your life a little tough here. So what I ended up doing, one of my solutions, because you'll notice that happens down lower too. I started just like you would expect, right? It prints the number 1, and then it says if X is less than 5, then I want you to print comma space, again, without a new line. So it would do 1, and then because 1 is less than 5, it would print comma space, and it doesn't execute else if it happens to be less than 5. And so then it would just start back over, and it would add it. So X is now 2, and then If 2 is less than 5, then do the same thing again. It would print the number and then a comma and a space. But once it gets to 5, it says if 5 is less than 5, which it's not, because I didn't say less than or equal to. I said if 5 is less than 5, then do this, but it's not. So it would say else echo, and echo on a blank line, it was just so that it added a new line character. So it would, return to the next line. And then break will get us out of the endless while loop. And then we're done. And then that it does 1 through 5. And that was the first line. All right. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody, how that worked. And then the second way I did it. Now the second one has, let's look over here. The second one has the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this time there's no commas. However, there is a space between them. So it's a space between the numbers, but no comma. And what I did here, I said x equals 1. And, before it was x equals 0, but this time I started with x equals 1. And instead of a while loop, I did an until loop, which means that it will run until this statement is true. And then it will just short circuit right there and be done. And so let's see, x equals 1. So it says until 1 is greater than 5. Well, 1 is not greater than 5. So it's going to keep doing it because remember, until does it until that is true. And so it printf, the $x, which in this first case is 1, and then a space. But because it's printf, it doesn't print a new line. And then down here, this is another way to increment a variable. Again, I tried to mix it up, right? I wouldn't normally use all these different methods as I'm doing it, but let is another way that Bash it's a way of telling Bash that you are using numerical stuff here. So x equals 1 plus 1. So at this point, x is now 2, and then it goes all the way up to the top of the beginning. And it says if 2 or until this variable, which is currently equal to 2, is greater than 5. So it would keep going through until we get down here. It prints 5, and then it prints a space, and then it increments it to 6. It goes back to the top, and then it says until 6 is greater than 5, which it is. And then all of a sudden, it just short circuits right here, and it doesn't execute it again. It just goes boom, all the way right down to done. And I did another echo command just to clear that new line character. Now, this is a little bit cheaty of me, a little bit, because that last one over here, so if we go back to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a space after every one. There's not a space after this, but you can't see it when it prints out. So I didn't write any code to not print a space after the final 5. Like I had to work up here, not print a comma after the final 5. I didn't do the same thing down here. I thought a space after the 5, it's fine. Right. So that was the second one. And now the third set, they're just printing down the screen. And this one was the simplest for me. I don't know if it was the simplest. I guess I got easier as I went, but for that one, I just did a simple for loop, and we can see it on my microphone cable's in the way. Hold on. There we go. Oh, still in the way for me. Goodness. There. Okay. So just 4x in, and then the range in curly braces here, 1 to 5. Do done, and then it just echoes 1. And then because I didn't say -n, if I would have done echo -n, it would not have put a new line, but by default it puts a new line character after it prints. And so it did 1, new line 2, new line 3, new line 4, all the way to 5, done, and that's it. And so that was probably the simplest one of them all. The other ones I tried to, so the other two are very, very similar, right? I mean, this is a list of strings and this is a list of strings. Yeah, I mean, they're different ways of saying numbers, but they're just two sets of strings. And I tried to do them a little bit different. So the fourth one, this is a lot like, so Mason up here, he was saying that he used sed. I didn't use sed, I used awk. And I think when I did the training video on awk and sed, I was pretty clear, like I rarely use sed. I almost always use awk if I'm gonna, chop up a string or something. And this ended up being a little bit like pedantic, if you will, because I wanted to make it useful, not just like a one-liner. So I did echo, and then in quotes, I put the list of the written out strings of numbers, but I separated them with the pipe symbol instead of like a space or a comma. And I did that because I wanted to specify the field delimiter with awk. Like by default, if they were just spaces, we wouldn't have to do -f anything because awk uses the space as the field delimiter by default. But if I did this pipe symbol, not only would we have to specify the pipe symbol, but we'd have to, what is it called? Cancel it out, but we would have escape. It's called escaping the character because, and hopefully this makes sense. If this is confusing, say something in the comments so I can talk more about it. But basically, you would think you could just say -F pipe symbol. The problem is pipe symbol is how you redirect output, right? We echoed this and we redirected the output into aux standard input. Well, if you just put a pipe symbol after the F, it's going to think that you, one, incorrectly wrote your awk command because awk-F and then nothing that's an error. But it wouldn't look for that pipe character unless we did that / to escape it. If we do that, this / is not recognized. It is telling the bash interpreter, okay, the next character I'm going to type, I don't want you to use it like a pipe symbol and redirect output. I want you to use it as the argument for awk. And so that's why this is / pipe symbol. It's just so that it escapes it so that awk actually does it. And again, that was just purposefully added for confusion. And then I did the, standard awk thing, single quotes, open curly braces, print $1, which is this, the word one, and then I put a space, and the space is not printed here because this is like formatted output. But the next thing that I had to do in quotes was comma and a space, and then it put it, comma, space, and I did that all the way through, and I just spelled them out until the very end, and I ended with $5, which happens to be the 5th field here, and so then I printed that, and that's it. And it was it printed out, so so it's printed out, and awk, when it prints out like that, does add a new line character at the end, and so it did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what my output looked like. Hopefully that's clear. One more way that I did it was pretty simple as well. I did another for loop, but instead of a range, I just did a list, and I was sneaky here. Okay. Because if you look over here at the desired output, and again, it's okay if you didn't do all of this output. This is just an example of counting to 5, but the same thing where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and no comma after that. Well, instead of worrying about like, do I put a comma or do I not put a comma? I had all of my elements be properly formatted in advance, if you will. When you do a for statement and a list of items to iterate through, the space character is what separates them, right? And so my first item is I, comma. The comma is not separating them. The comma is actually the first chunk or the first iterative value that I'm running through the X variable. Hopefully that makes sense. It was, again, it felt a little bit like cheating. It was a little bit sneaky. So yeah, this is the first one. So it prints that, and then the second one, and then the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one, which doesn't have a comma after it because that's what I wanted it to look like in the end. Now, the one thing I did have to do, since they were all printed on one line, I had to use -N so it didn't add a new line character. And I had to do $sign to get that string, like, capital I, comma. But then I also had to put a space after it. Otherwise, it wouldn't put a space after it either. And then since the V, or the Roman numeral 5, was the last thing to print with a space after it, it was still on that same line. And so to get the new line character, I did echo all on its own. Hopefully that makes sense. I will post this script in the solution box, which I haven't done yet, but there's a link to the solution page, and I will put this script in there so that anybody who is, coming in after the fact can see that. Or if you want to go back and say, okay, what was he talking about with like the pipe symbol and the field delimiter and escaping the pipe symbol, you can see what I did and why I did it. In fact, what you can do is like remove that escape character and see what happens. You get an error because it's like, whoa. Why would you pipe the output of awk -F with nothing after it into, I don't even know what curly braces print means. So it just thinks you're trying to redirect it into there. So anyway, that was it. That was our weekend assignment. Again, it was kind of loosey-goosey. I'm sure nobody had the exact same solutions I did. If somebody had the exact same solution I did, that really is creepy. So anyway, let's go back to my face cam, and I'm going to move the chat over here so I can see it better. Talk more directly into the mic. All right, let's see. How do we do? Hello to you as well. Eddie here, join this bash script is a bit advanced. Yes. So advanced, sort of, right? I mean, it gets complicated kind of quick, and I was purposefully trying to make it more complicated so that we could like see the nuance and like things like the new line character. But please don't get overwhelmed with it. And I am going to have that solution posted so that, you know, you can look at it, and if you get more comfortable with bash or whatever, then you can look at it. Hopefully it makes sense. My third one was a sequence 1 to 5. Ran out of time to do the rest. Yeah, no, there's no apologies, right? I posted to, who did I post to? Somebody, and I don't want to say their name because their name isn't their username anymore. So, I said, I didn't do it, you know, or I did it this way, or, you know, what if I do it this way? And I'm like, you know, I actually posted a GIF from the Pirates of the Caribbean where he's like, the code is more like guidelines than actual rules. So I just was hoping people would think outside of the box, or at least be comfortable thinking in the boxes that they know. Hello, Honeybee. I am doing fairly well. We need to hack the YouTube algorithm and give more likes to this gentleman. You know what? It'll happen. And while I seriously do appreciate the that notion, and yeah, please, I mean, you know, like, subscribe, share, ding the bell, whatever all the things I'm supposed to say are, it's kind of a neat place to be right now as a small YouTube channel, because some of the things that I can do now, I just can't do with, you know, once the channel grows so big. Like now I am actually starting to slip. There's like comments on YouTube that I haven't even gotten to, partially because it's been, you know, a pretty stressful month for me. But once it gets really big, it's going to be even more difficult. And that bums me out. So I'm trying really hard to just enjoy the smallness, if you will. So yeah, enjoying the beginning parts, because it'll get weird later on. Leonard doing copy paste from Google Find. Oh yeah. So here's the thing. And yes, this is and yeah, Shane is the one who I copied that GIF to, because I didn't want to call him out, but I lost what I was going to say. Oh, Google copy and paste. I mean, that's how the world works, right? I mean, I'm a kind of cruddy PHP developer, even more cruddy Python developer. You know, I bash scripter on most days, but even then, I'm always Googling and copying and pasting. In fact, this is literally true. So I thought about it as I was doing it. So if you watch the video in the bash scripting playlist about for loops, I'm sure that I say, because whenever I teach for loops, I always say it, I always have to Google the exact syntax for a for loop, and I'll be darned if I didn't have to. Today, I had to Google exactly how to do range. No, not a range. When I was typing out the last one where it's like I, comma, I, comma, I didn't remember if it had to be like in parentheses or brackets or curly braces. And it turns out it had to be in nothing at all. Like you just like say 4x in and then just a long list of stuff, and it'll read to the end of time, however many things you put there. But I had to Google it because I didn't remember. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking. If so, I apologize. The mailman is probably here to kill me, and they're protecting me. So the thing that I was going to announce, and I didn't mean to build it up so big, but I really wanted to make sure that I cover the weekend assignment. So is everybody cool with the weekend assignment? Like I said, I will put my solution example in, so it'll be accessible on that link at the bottom. If you look at the bottom of the link, it says that there's a solution page linked here. And if you go there now, the solution page says, I'll paste the script later and I'll do that. So it'll be done. So unless if you have a question, just shout out and I'll try to answer it. But the thing that I'm going to do, so like I said, I have a really difficult time with perfectionism. Like I want to make sure that I'm teaching every aspect, and I don't want to forget something important. And if I make a video and I post it, and afterwards I'm like, oh, I don't know if I explained escaping a pipe symbol clear enough, and yeah, I better just not post it. I better redo it. So that I end up in this like spiral of it isn't really about the perfection of editing. You know, I'm really simplistic when it comes to editing. You know, jump cuts and very little else. But as far as content goes, you'd probably when I'm talking, you wouldn't think that I worry so much about it, but I do. I want to make sure I cover everything. So my solution is not to be easy on myself. My solution is stealing from Techno Tim. Now, if anybody here follow Techno Tim on YouTube, he's a great guy. He's actually the one who maintains the Docker image that I use to host my Sean Powers .com website. If you go to nerdlings.net, it redirects you to seanpowers.com, and that's like a link tree or little tree or something. I don't remember exactly what the underlying code is, but anyway, Techno Tim manages that, and I use that because it's great. Anyway, his channel is fun. He recently did the 100 days of home lab, and it was actually really cool. I think it's done now. I think we're on like day 113 because I saw him post something about 100 days of home lab, day number 113. So he's like still going strong. But he did this thing, and he actually got other creators to like join him and do this, like work an hour a day on your home lab every day for 100 days. And I thought, oh, that was actually really, really cool. I want to do that too, but there's a couple problems. I am not popular enough to have collabs with popular YouTubers. That's fine. That's not I'm not complaining. I'm okay with that. And also 100 days from now is 10 days into the new year, which is just weird. I mean, that's just not a great, like, so what I'm going to do is 90 days to the new year. So if you start from tomorrow, which is October 3rd, there are 90 days left in 2022. And what I'm doing, it's just a challenge that I'm doing now for myself. I'm going to create a video every single day for the next 90 days to finish off the new year strong. And it's not just to punish myself. It's because if I have to get a video out every day, I'm going to do it rather than keep thinking through it to make sure it's perfect. When I've done things like that in the past, like when I was doing it for my career at CBT Nuggets, when I would force myself to just pump out video after video after video, the videos were perfectly fine. They didn't suffer in quality at all. So that's kind of what I'm doing to myself now. So yeah, 90 days to the new year. Nobody, it's not as cool as Techno Tim, where he got a whole bunch of people to join him. It's just something that I am going to do. So anyway, that's my big announcement. There's going to be a lot of video content. It's not all going to be Linux Plus content. The rule for myself is that I have to do one video content a day, again, for the next 90 days. It could be a live stream. This doesn't count because it's the day before I'm starting. It could be a live stream. It could be a YouTube short that I've been meaning to start making YouTube shorts on my channel. So it could be a YouTube short. It could be a Linux Plus video. It could be a goofy video for my secondary channel. But it has to be a video project, and it has to be every single day. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let's see. I missed a bunch of comments. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, yeah, check out that script. And again, I just made most of that stuff up, so that's not like the way to do it. I could use with asking how to limit the responses in a CSV to only a selection, but can't wait. So I did see your comment on the Discord, Shane. I wasn't exactly sure what you were describing. Like I wasn't sure exactly what you were asking. Like if it was like a per line, you're trying to pull things out of a line. If you were trying to loop through each line as a as a loop. So let's talk more about it in the Discord so I can get a better handle on what you're saying. And I might not know the answer, but I can help figure it out. Let's see. Watched a few hours of this video. Or a few of this video. Yeah, Mason. Me too. I'm kind of bad at watching YouTube. I don't watch as much YouTube as I wish that I had time to watch. I end up getting distracted partway through. There are exceptions that have nothing to do with technology. Like I tend to watch the Vlogbrothers, John and Hank Green. I seem to, of course, they're very short videos, so that helps probably. So I watch their stuff. By the way, it's Pizzamas, which means nothing to me until this year, where I know that they just raise money for charity. But anyway, I don't watch as much YouTube stuff as I think that I should. But Techno Tim is great. I've never watched any of his stuff that I didn't like. Same with like Jeff Geerling. I watch a lot of Jeff Geerling stuff. Linux in OpSWAT. So I have to, is cybersecurity, and I don't know what OpSWAT stands for. Critical infrastructure protection, cybersecurity. If you could clarify for me what you're asking for sure. I mean, I know you said what are my views, but specifically like if Linux is good for critical infrastructure protection, because my answer is going to be yes, for not just because that's what I'm most familiar with, but because the open source nature of Linux and other open source tools, I think is in some ways critical for security, because having multiple eyes looking at the tools are just, for security's sake, it almost feels ironic that open source by design tends to have the ability, it isn't always the case, but has the ability to be more secure because there can be so many different eyes looking at it. Again, that's not a guarantee of security. It's just a model that allows for some trusted security, if you will. Anyway, maybe those are my views, if that's the question. Let's see. I tried that, but with one of my daily driver, 100 days I managed 34 days and failed. Oh, so specifically, Mason, are you talking about Techno Tim's 100 days of home lab challenge? Like, were you trying to have your Linux be your daily driver for like everything you did? If you made it 34 days, that's stinking awesome. Yeah. That's great. I tend to have, like this computer that we're on right now is Windows. The one right next to it, there's like I know I've said this before in the live stream, but there's a monitor right next to it that's running Mac OS, and I use a program called Share Mouse to use one mouse and keyboard between them. And then, I have VMs of Linux running, and I have laptops of varying kinds, like the laptop that's in my bedroom, right next to my bed if I need to do something really quick, or if I'm just, sitting in bed browsing the web while we're watching TV in our room. That's running Linux. It's on a really cool Dell XPS. I really like that. Actually, it's a really nice computer. I don't think I have a Windows laptop anymore. I have an older Mac laptop, which I still love, but it's starting to get really old. So yeah, if you did 34 days and that wasn't what you were used to, awesome. That's awesome. OpSWAT Academy. Oh, okay. I don't know what this is. So I guess my opinion on it is that I don't really know what that is. I will have to, I'll have to find that. If you can join the Discord, and just like go like to random chat or something, or learning Linux, and bring that up, we can all discuss it, because I don't know. I have to Google it. I don't have an opinion because I don't know exactly what that is. Let's see. Oh shoot. Everything scrolled past for me. Wow. I missed a lot. I'm so sorry. I'm slow in responding. I just went ahead and scheduled my LPIC 1. Oh, nice. The 14th of October. Good luck. Yeah, no, Damien, that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't created LPIC 1 training in a while, but I've done so many revisions of the LPIC 1 courses at CBT Nuggets over the years, that's just cool. And yeah, it's a lot of information, but it's great. I'm a big fan of LPIC 1 and Linux Plus. I gravitate towards Linux Plus because it's one exam, but there are downsides to being one exam too, right? With two, you get to split up all the stuff you have to cram into your brain, because let's be honest, when we're taking exams, a lot of the information that we have to keep fresh in our minds, like the rote memorization, a lot of that is not something that you need to keep fresh in your brain, right? You can put that on an offline hard drive, i.e. Google, so you can retrieve it. But yeah, it's cramming for those tests. It can be stress inducing for sure. And yeah, it's a good experience, but again, that's not generally how the world works in practice. So anyway, I wish you luck. I'm confident you should do really well. And let's see, Damien. Yeah, good luck for the year. Did you see my comments on Discord about? I did, yeah. And you probably said this before, and before I replied to the one earlier. Yes, just in the Discord, if you would, Shane, just specify exactly what you mean. I wasn't sure if you meant like to pull out a single line or like a certain part of it, or I wasn't sure what exactly you were asking about a CSV. So yeah, I did see that, but I didn't understand the question completely. 90 new videos. Yeah, I'll look forward to. I don't know. Don't build it up, right? They might be really crappy videos. No, it should be good. And like I said, when I would, so this is a little bit of transparency here. Back when I was, a full-time trainer at CBT Nuggets, and I was struggling with perfectionism that was just crushing my productivity, I actually saw a coach for a long time. He's actually a really good friend of mine now, and we made it such that I had to do 2 complete videos, and the videos then they're smaller. Like the YouTube videos I make now for Linux Plus are about 20 minutes long usually. With CBT Nuggets, they had to be smaller. They had to be like under 10 minutes long. So 2 a day wasn't as big of an ask as like 2 Linux Plus videos that I do now. But forcing myself to do 2 a day, 1, it was a lot of work. 2, it was my day job, so I had the time to be able to do it. But the quality didn't suffer. So I'm hoping that this challenge does that for me. It just kind of like rattles my brain a little bit to say, dude, just make the stinking videos. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's see. Yeah. Linux Essentials, and that one is done. Well, that one meaning my playlist for Linux Essentials. It's done. I think it's a pretty well-rounded course that covers all the things. I scrolled too far. Academy. Yeah, yeah. Again, if you can go to the Discord, I will look that up. We can talk about it because I'm just not familiar with it. All right, Damien. Yes, good luck. You're probably gone already because it took me a long time to scroll through all the comments. But yeah. Let us know how it goes. The 14th. What is today? Today's the 2nd. So we're looking not next Sunday, but the Sunday after. Please stop in and report to us how it went. Even if it didn't go well, we will cheer you on and we will support you and we will be kind and uplifting because that's how we roll. So yeah, you might be gone already, but nonetheless, let us know how it goes in 2 weeks. I'm finally caught up. So oh yeah, I have gotten from Shane again. And, people change their usernames and it messes with my head. So a bunch of ideas about how to do the weekend assignments. So I'm going to continue to make them. Hopefully they'll be more and more useful. I am going to introduce other tools rather than just, bash scripting. But I do want to make sure that I can point to some information, like if we were to do Ansible, and I've created training, but not on YouTube, on Ansible before. So it would probably be after I have something there that we could start using Ansible. And that's like a whole thing. You got to set up, for Ansible. So anyway, that's just kind of thinking out loud. What Docker image did I use for my web server? You know what? I will get a link right now, Mason, because I half stole Techno Tim's idea for his 100 days that I didn't think of in time. So now mine is 90 days. But yeah, let's see. It's just GitHub Techno Tim. Ba-da-bum-bum. Let's see. No, that is not him. Oh, how did I? You know what? It's Techno Dash Tim. He's messing with me. All right. And it's little link server. Okay, here. I'm gonna copy pasta into here. Hopefully that works. Yeah, that's what I use for my Sean Powers with a 0 for the O.com. That is that's the Docker image I use. Everything is self-contained. It doesn't use any database at all. It's a very efficient. In fact, that one is still running at my house. I don't even have it at my data center. So if you go to that, it actually it's a CNAME for my home that it's actually served from. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, put it up here. Yeah, it doesn't show the whole link. So anyway, in the chat is a link to his GitHub repo. And if I think the chat replay shows, but it's just github.com/techno-tim, and you'll see all of his repos, and it's the little link server that I use. Linux Essentials playlist. He goes even broader than actual exam. Oh, that's good to know. I appreciate that. Again, for me, I've made these courses so many times that, I haven't gone back and taken the Linux Essentials exam itself. But I try really hard to make sure that I cover all the things. And again, not just for rote memorization. I want to make sure you understand like the why you do things or why things are like they are, because the hope is not just to pass an exam, right? But to understand what you're doing and enjoy it and use that knowledge to, come up with 5 ways to count to 5, things like that. So anyway. Yeah. What else is going on? I mean, Patreon just changed their thing. So, so it used to be, this was an annoyance of mine and probably everybody else. So, and I'm not saying, hey, sign up for Patreon. That's not why I'm saying this, but Patreon had this thing where when you sign up to be someone's patron, you get billed, which, that's what being a patron's all about, right? But then on the first of the month, you'd get billed the first of every month, which if you join at the beginning of a month isn't a big deal. But let's say that you decided to start supporting me on, like September 29th, and you click, I'm a patron, boom, you get charged. Well, then on the first of the month, you get charged again the same full amount. And so that was a little bit annoying. I tried to make like the digital welcome basket that, everybody gets be useful so that at least you got some value. But I say all that to say, Patreon now, it's like you would expect a subscription to work. You get billed at first, and then that day of the month is when subscriptions happen. Now, if you're already a patron, it's going to be the first of the month because it's already set up. So it's not like you're going to get billed again on the day you signed up. But moving forward, people that sign up, you don't have to worry about like the double billing if you join towards the end of the month. So I'm really glad about that. So that's new. That might be it. I mean, the 90 days thing is something that I've been thinking about for a couple days. Clearly not 10 days. So I could have done 100 days, but been thinking about that. And oh, it's the beginning of the month. So there'll be a newsletter here in a couple days. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, you can do that. Let's see. It's fun. It's a fun exam to take, Sean. You can try it. Oh, the Linux Essentials. Yeah, I haven't I don't know if I ever took the actual exam. We tried. So when I was a trainer, we would try to take the exam so we would, really know what to expect when we were teaching. I don't remember if I ever took that one or not. Yeah, it's been a lot of years ago. Which VM and distro to use for the first time using Linux? VirtualBox, then a bunch. So yes, and I covered this. I covered this somewhere. I don't remember where. I don't remember. Maybe at the beginning of the Linux Plus playlist, which isn't that long to date. I think I talked about what setup I'm going to use as I teach. And yeah, it's going to be VirtualBox because it's free, and Ubuntu. And also I use Rocky Linux because like Linux Plus and LPIC 1, they're not distro specific. And so they generally teach how to do it the Debian/Ubuntu way and the Red Hat / RPM based distribution way. And so I use Rocky Linux, which is a clone of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. When I'm teaching. So those are the two that I use. But yeah, I use VirtualBox because it's free, it's accessible. and everybody should be able to download that and use it. So yeah, that would be my recommendation there. So using Windows with the Windows services for Linux, does that work well for you, Mason? I mean, really, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm literally really asking because when it first came out, I tried to install it, and man, it was just the weirdest experience. It felt like virtualization, but also not, and it just did not. It didn't feel like Linux, but it also didn't feel like Windows. I had a really difficult time trying to use that. So I'm curious how your experience, and maybe it's, I mean, that was when it first came out. So maybe it's a little bit better. Let's see, Rocky Linux. So yes, Shane. So I think I had a distro talk. If you look at in my videos, I think there's something about distros, like talking about different distros. And CentOS used to be Community Enterprise Linux, right? It used to be Red Hat Enterprise Linux, but recompiled with the word Red Hat taken out. But it was like almost byte for byte binary, the same as Red Hat Enterprise Linux. However, Red Hat somehow bought CentOS. I don't know how that happened. They took over and they decided not to do that anymore, which from Red Hat's perspective, I guess makes sense, right? I mean, it was a direct copy of all their stuff, just without the licensing and without the support. So they changed it to CentOS Stream, and it's just different. It feels more like Fedora to me. I'm sure it's different, and people could specify exactly what makes it different. But yeah, CentOS is no longer what it used to be, and or it used to just be a direct copy. And there's a couple distros that have kind of taken up the reins. Rocky Linux being one of them. Rocky Linux today is what CentOS was several years ago, before CentOS Stream came out, and so that's why I use Rocky Linux. I think it's been a while. I think Rocky Linux is actually started from the same person who originally started CentOS, or something like that. It has a tie to the original spirit of CentOS, if you will. Let's see. I got behind a little bit. It does just for testing and playing around. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. It did not work well for me. Bjorn also has good luck on the command line. Oh, okay. This is actually, maybe this is part of it then. I am certain that I have not tried Windows, or is it Windows Services for Linux? Whatever WSL stands for. I've not tried 2. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it probably is better. It would certainly make sense that the experience improved. I also use a VM, but I have to admit it's because, well, for a couple things. One, I'm not comfortable in Windows. I mean, I'm not a Windows admin. I use Windows like I'm using Windows right now. Part of that is because of software and drivers and stuff like that. So Windows is not my comfort zone. So for me, running in a VM and then having like the native operating system running, that's my comfort zone. So that's why I do. However, I mean, WSL, especially if you're in Windows all day doing stuff, having it right there without the need to go into an entire environment is pretty nice. Like little things like not being able to smoothly copy and paste into a terminal can be a pain in the butt. So I see those kind of things. Let's see, learning basics. Yeah, that's cool. And again, if it works, awesome. Windows subsystem for Linux. Thank you. Windows subsystem for Linux. Yeah, I knew it stood for something and I wasn't quite there, but close. In my 90 days. So, okay, Mason, here's the deal. I know that every day I have to release a video, which means that some days I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I happen to have a folder full of footage as I was working on the farm already. And so, yeah, there's definitely going to be some not strictly Linux Plus videos, or I'll go insane. So yeah, we're going to see stuff. Although, so what I plan on doing, in the Discord, and maybe I should come up with somewhere else to post to. I want to be able to post like where all the like daily content is. And I mean, I'll tweet out a link probably, and then in the new content channel in the Discord, the Nerdlings Discord, it'll show wherever it is, because like data center tour, I guess it could go on my main channel, but that might be on my Inside the Brain of Sean auxiliary channel. I'm not exactly sure. If there's just downright silliness, which there probably will be. I mean, let's be honest. I have two major holidays in the next 90 days. You know, here in the US, it's going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Eve. So kind of three. And I'm not giving myself an exception. Maybe I'll record the day before and post it. But, you know, there'll be a release every day. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff. But it's going to be across a bunch of different places. So I don't have a great central landing place, except right now it's basically the new content channel in my Discord. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll come up with an RSS feed. Boy, that dates me. I don't know exactly. And also I didn't want to let myself off the hook and say it had to be 90 days of content, because I thought about it, right? I could do just 90 days of content. So today's content is a blog post, or today's content is, you know, I draw a comic today. But no, I wanted it to be videos, because videos are the thing that I struggle with getting started. So that is what it's going to be. 90 days of video. It seems backwards to me to force myself to do more because I struggle to do any, but I mean, I've seen it work before. Oh yeah. So that's the thing too. Again, my brain is so bizarre. If I'm making content every day, I think we're probably going to see the return of more regular comics. I mean, for over a year, I didn't miss a day. I mean, so, you know, there's a huge backlog, you know, there's a huge archive of comics. But once I stopped, it was actually when I got COVID that I stopped. It's hard to get back in the groove. And so possibly with constant content being created, I will also be inspired to do that. It's a little bit weird. Like, if you're a writer, because I was a writer at Linux Journal for a long time, people would always think like, oh, what if you run out of like creativity? What if you can't think of, you know, something good to do? You don't want to waste all of your ideas, right? And ideas, they don't seem to work that way for most creators I know, myself included. Generally, the more you do, the more you create, the more you write, the better you get at coming up with more things. It's just the weirdest. Again, it doesn't seem normal, but yeah, but that seems to be what happens. Let's see. I'm sorry, I missed a couple. I know it's about tech, but what is Thanksgiving for? Oh, the series Friends. Oh my goodness, Mason, we could so be friends. My friends, no pun intended. So my family were big Friends the show fans. To the point where we could quote almost half the dialogue from the entire 10-year series. I mean, we watch it all the time. The Thanksgiving episodes are by far the best. And Thanksgiving is where we just are thankful for everything in general, but it's based on when it came to the New World here, you know, original people on ships, the Mayflower, etc. The indigenous people here were very welcoming, and you know, we had a feast and they helped us not starve, and then we repay them with smallpox, which is another whole topic. But yeah, it goes all the way back there, which is why you see a lot of like pilgrim themed things. I don't even know if there were turkeys at the original Thanksgiving. There was a lot of corn, I'm guessing, because that was, you know, something that was here that we didn't know about before. And I'm vegetarian, so we don't have turkeys anyway. But nonetheless, that's pretty much what it's for. And yeah, Friends, man, we watch a lot of Friends. Oh, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Yeah, this channel is supposed to be about tech. I think the live stream has a little bit of lenience, though. I mean, we can, you know, yeah. Yeah, we watch a lot of Friends here. So here's a completely not tech related thing. I am fascinated by people who are multilingual. and I really, really, really want to learn more languages. I tried to learn Spanish because I gave a talk to the a Linux users group in the Dominican Republic, and I was their first English speaker. I was very honored, but I wanted to be able to speak their native language. I wanted to be able to speak Spanish and have conversations. I tried so hard I used Duolingo, and I don't know if it's because of my age, but I had such a hard time about it, learning Spanish. And so I was I was researching like other ways to learn, and there's a woman who's a polyglot, which just means she speaks many languages, and she likes to learn new languages. And the way that she often does it is she gets a favorite show of hers, like a television series that she knows very well, and she gets it in the language that she wants to learn. And then she just watches it, no subtitles, just the other language. But because she knows the show, and it was actually Friends was the show that she knows really well, because she knows the show really well, she started to pick up what was being said because she knew what was happening in the scene. And so she watches those shows, and it ended up being like a way to immersively learn another language. And I actually want to try that. But here's the thing, I cannot find Friends like DVDs in another language. Every time I look, it doesn't specifically say that they have other language tracks. So that bums me out. Anyway, that was quite a bunny trail, but nonetheless, people who speak multiple languages are just awesome. Bjorn, so Friends is not on Netflix. Friends is currently on the Peacock streaming network here in the US. However, they do not have alternate languages. I read a post that they were going to at some point, but they don't now, which is so, yeah, I don't know. Even illegitimate ways to source things, not cool ways. I mean, we have so many, we bought Friends DVDs and stuff so many times. I wouldn't feel guilty about it. But I can't even find like other language tracks in the shadier parts of the internet. So anyway, in Germany it is. Now that's interesting. So, now I wonder if I like used a VPN, even, a streaming service, VPN to a country that would have that language. Now see, this is a conversation I'm glad that we had. Oh, exactly. We had the same thought. Yeah. It would also help me with German. I took German in high school for 3 years. It was 3 full years of German. And I remember a lot of words, but do you think any of the grammar has stuck in my brain? And I mean, yes, I had a car accident. I don't remember my childhood, but that's not an excuse. It's so bad that I know a lot of words, but I would be mortified to try to have a conversation with someone, and that annoys me. So yeah, I kind of want to find shows in multiple different. Bjorn, I checked. Audio is only German. I'm just saying German though. I mean, maybe I want to brush up on my German skills because it's the grammar that just kills me. And if you're watching a show, I would probably recognize a lot of the words, and hopefully the grammar would just kind of like seep back into my brain. I mean, I passed 3 years of German. So anyway, I don't even remember all the words. So people who are multilingual, you know what the weirdest part for a native English speaker is? Most other languages have gendered nouns, and that's just a strange foreign concept. Like die Augen, die Ohren, das Gesicht. But why? Why is a window das Fenster? And I can't think and it's strange. Yeah, der, die, and das. But the logic about what is so difficult. So anyway, I'm fascinated by languages and by people who can speak multiple languages. So anyway. I guess I'm past time. I'm sorry. Here I'm talking about watching shows tonight, and I'm gonna research some VPN stuff to see if possibly stream. But I mean, for streaming services, you probably have to have an account at a specific thing. I wonder if I could like sign up for a streaming service in another place or some of the free ones in another. I don't know. I'll look into it. Yeah, squirrel exactly. And so this is true here. I'll show you my phone. And I know we're gonna go. But do 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 do. I don't know if you can see that. Reminder, Adderall. I didn't take it. So yeah. Squirrel, thank you for chatting with me. Thank you so much. I will let everybody know what I can find about watching shows in different languages, although I've struggled to figure that out. So VPN, that might be the way to go. And I will have a weekend assignment number 4 before next week. And I will have videos, ideally 6 of them, because like what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So there should be 6 new video things. The next time we talk will be the 7th because the live stream is going to count as a video. So anyway, have a great week. Yeah, if you're not on the Discord, you should join. It's fun. I try to go there. And I'll see everybody next week. Are you ready for that awkward few moments where I try to figure out how to stop the stream? Because we're about there. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. And those of you who it's late evening, thank you for staying up and chatting with me. And now I'm looking for all the how to stop the stream. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.